everyone, it's Jeff Quintin here with Jeff Quintin TV. And I'm your host, Jeff Quintin, the most passionate show here on the internet for real estate. So today's episode I'm going to talk about, which is a very important topic here today, it's talk about why your first offer is your best offer, okay? So why do I say, why is your first offer your best offer? Well, if you're either on the market for sale or thinking of getting your home on the market, many times you will get an offer on your property. It could be within the first day, it could be in the first week, it may be in the first 2 months, who knows? But statistics and everything right now shows your first offer typically is always going to be your best offer or your best buyer. Now why do we say this? Well, I wrote down a couple of notes here. I wrote, see, buyers in real estate market usually start by dipping their feet into the water, okay? So in other words, the buying process is they start to inquire on the internet, start doing a little bit of research, maybe going in some open houses, connect with an agent, they start getting education and the knowledge of the real estate market, and they start looking. Today, guys, it takes an average person, an average buyer, okay, to see about 100 homes or so, you know, by viewing them either in the properties, online, whatever it may be. And so it takes them a lot of knowledge and almost 6 months to buy a home. So ultimately, the buyer that usually makes your first offer is the most educated buyer that's already been previously looking 6 months ago. All right, I wrote down a couple of things that happen when a buyer starts to get educated. One is, you know, they get an email notification of your property. So let's say it comes on the market today, and the buyer's been in our system. Automatically, they'll get an email shot to them if the property shows up within their criteria or within their parameters. They're going to get that brand new listing today. They're excited. They see it meets their criteria. It's in their price range. Maybe it's out of the price range a little bit, but it meets everything, location, condition, everything about it, it fits. They get excited. Then they're going to go ahead from there and get very much engaged in with their agent and then go see the property. You know, they're going to see it ASAP. This buyer is already going to be educated, okay, versus the buyer who's just starting the process. So if this buyer comes in and makes an offer, you know, in the first week, whatever it may be, they typically are always going to be the best buyer for you because they're the most educated and know the market. Now, here's a couple of scenarios I can give you it's unfortunate, but here's what's happened. I'm going to give you two. One's fortunate, one's not so much. So here we go. You know, I've got a property on the market for sale right now. When I met with the sellers, I gave them a recommended list price of $499. All right, so I gave them a number that was, you know, to sell within the first 30 days. All right, what was interesting about this is we listed the property higher than that because they wanted the net $500 out of it. We got $539.9, sat on the market for about a week or two. Well, guess what? We got an offer on the property at $485. Now, you know, in my opinion, it's worth about $500, okay? We got an offer for $485, which is pretty close. Now, it's not $500, but it's pretty close to the number that I recommended to list for, okay? And we got a $485 offer. But in the seller's mind, they wanted the net $500, so they want to list high at $539. They sat on the market. They got the offer. Oh, no, 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 it's way too low. It's insulting. I'm not going to counter it, blah, blah, blah. As an agent, I'm able to educate them and say, you need to make a counteroffer. Make the counteroffer, let me go back and negotiate and get this buyer all the way up as far as we can. They make a small counteroffer, the buyer makes a small counteroffer. Now we're still far apart in gaps. So make a long story short, we got this buyer to come up to $500,000, all the way to $500, but the seller at this point didn't want to take it. They still wanted to hold out, I think, for like $505, $510. Well, let's advance forward a little bit here. It's now been in the market for 74 days. They've gone through 2 reductions already. Now we're listed at $524.9 and most likely going to reduce again very shortly to $519.9. They wish and hope and would be praying right now for that same buyer to show up at $500. But guess what, guys? Their first buyer and the first offer was their best offer. They missed the boat. We're coming into the fall market. They might have to wait all the way till spring and carry it another 6 to 9 months for that next buyer to show up again, guys. So understand their first offer is the best. Now, I have another more successful story right now. Just last week, I have a property on the market. It's been on the market about 30 days or so. They did, again, list a little higher than we wanted the first time. They reduced the property to $299. One offer came in at I think it was $275. No, 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 it's way too low. It's insulting, the whole deal. I said, guys, you got to make a counteroffer. It was a fight. It was, you know, not a fight, but ultimately a battle. Look, you got to make a counter. Oh, they make a counter of like $1,000. I mean, you know, not so much. I said, okay, let me go back and do what I can. Buyer comes up to $280. Now they're getting into the ball game. Okay, Basically, at this point, we're able to get the property done and under contract with a closing within 30 days of $285, 95% of asking price. Your best buyer is always your first, 99% of the time, typically, even if it's a low offer, okay, coming in from what you might think. You got to take a look and see what your agent has recommended, what the market conditions are, what your inventory is like. Just take a look at everything overall and see exactly what the recommended prices were in the beginning. And the statistics show 99% of the time, your first offer is always going to be your best. So always consider that and look at it very, very carefully if you're on the market, okay? So take a look at here. Here's a little article about that, and feel free to comment here at the bottom of the blog. We appreciate you viewing today. Any questions, thoughts, comments, thinking of getting your home on the market or getting another opinion, call me whenever you can. No obligation, free market analysis. Give me a ring at 609-398-5333. Email me, jeff@jeffquintin.com. As always, I look forward to our conversation being the best of your day. Have a great one.